Have you ever taken a look around your living room and noticed it's quieter than it once was? Not simply the lack of noise, but that specific kind of silence that curls around you, heavy and steady, like an old coat you never wanted. The phone hasn't rung for days, the neighbors left years ago. Even the dog, once a lively companion, now just rests by the radiator. His ears barely move anymore, and then it hits you all of a sudden. You're still here, but everyone else has gone. Now, before we let that thought settle too deeply, let's hold on a moment. This isn't a funeral speech for your social life. It's the start of something completely different. Because what if I told you that growing old alone doesn't mean being beaten? What if I told you that when nobody's left, that's when you finally meet the most important person you've been overlooking for years? Yourself. Here's the truth most people are afraid to say out loud. As we get older, our world shrinks. Friends pass away, family gets busy, children build their own lives, some relationships fall apart. Others fade for no big reason at all, and eventually the people we once leaned on the most turn into just memories we hold onto. That change can feel like abandonment, but it's not. It's the natural flow of life, hard to accept, yes, but completely normal. The issue is, nobody teaches us how to be alone in our 70s. We learn how to raise kids, run a home, retire with a pension. But what about waking up at 80, with nobody to eat breakfast with? What then? So let's talk about it. Let's discuss what to do when you realize you're the last one standing, still breathing, still thinking, still feeling everything, including the ache of missing someone who used to sit across from you. The first step isn't practical. It's emotional. You have to grieve. Not just the people who died, but the version of life you thought you'd still be living, the family dinners, the holiday plans, the visits from grandchildren that never happened. Grieve those expectations. Cry if you need to. Mourn the old rhythm, because pretending you're okay when you're not only makes loneliness worse. Allow yourself to hurt, but once that's over, and I mean truly over, then you get to choose what comes next. And here's where it gets interesting, because what's next doesn't have to be smaller. It can be richer, fuller, unexpectedly beautiful. Let's begin with your home. You might think of it as the place where everyone used to gather, and now it's just where the mail lands. But that space still belongs to you, and it can change. Rearrange the furniture, paint a wall, hang new pictures. Not for anyone else, just for you. Turn your living space into somewhere that feels like possibility, not just memory. You're not keeping a museum. You're building a refuge for the life you have now. And what about your daily routine? If every day looks the same, with nothing to look forward to, no wonder the hours feel heavy. Add something new. A walk at a different time, breakfast outside, a weekly trip to a park you've never visited. Start with small shifts, and slowly your day will start to open up again. Routines are comfortable, but they can also lock us into a cycle of numbness. A little shea cup, that's where life sneaks back in. Now, let's talk about people. I know, I see the irony. We're discussing being alone, but here's the secret. There are others just like you. Dozens, maybe hundreds in your city alone, waiting, wondering if they're the only one left without a plus one. They're not, and neither are you. Finding community again takes effort, yes, but it starts with one brave act. Join that book club at the library, try that Tai Chi class at the community center, go to the senior movie night. You don't have to become best friends with anyone right away. Just showing up is enough. You might say, but I'm too old to begin again. And I would say this, are you too old to breathe? Because as long as you're breathing, life isn't finished with you yet. It's simply offering you a new chapter, one you get to write entirely on your own. Now, some people find purpose in looking after others. You don't need to raise children to be caring. You could volunteer once a week at an animal shelter. You could read stories to kids at the local school. You could check on someone else down the street who's also alone. Purpose isn't always about achievement. It's about connection. It's about reminding yourself that your presence still matters in someone else's life. And don't underestimate the power of learning. You might think education is only for the young, but learning something new, whether it's watercolor painting, a few words of Spanish, or how to work that troublesome smartphone, isn't just good for your brain. It's good for your soul. It tells your heart we're still alive, we're still curious, we're not finished yet. Also, care for your body like it's your favorite car. Oil it, clean it, drive it slowly, but drive it often. Movement keeps you going, not just physically, but mentally too. A short walk every day, light stretches in the morning, even just dancing to your favorite old song when nobody's watching. You don't have to join a gym, you just have to keep moving. And speaking of nobody watching, remember how much of life we spent worrying about what others thought of us, whether we looked silly, whether we were good enough. At this age, that fear should be as outdated as dial-up internet. No one is judging you anymore. Wear the bright scarf. Tell the joke, dance at the bus stop. You've earned that freedom, use it, but let's not sugarcoat this. Loneliness is still real. There will still be evenings when the quiet feels like it's pressing down on your chest. You'll still wish someone was there to share a story with or laugh at that ridiculous commercial with the talking dog. On those nights, have something ready, a comforting ritual. Maybe it's lighting a candle, calling a helpline just to hear another voice, writing a letter to someone you miss, even if they've been gone for years. These small acts remind you that you're not invisible. You're still here, and you still matter. One more thing, don't underestimate the healing power of nature. The sky above you doesn't care how old you are. The sun rises for everyone. The breeze still finds your face. Go outside, even for 5 minutes. Sit on a bench, watch the clouds, touch a tree. It sounds simple, but nature has a way of making you feel like you're part of something again, like you're still connected, even when the rest of the world feels distant. And perhaps the most powerful thing you can do in this season of solitude is this: forgive. Forgive the friends who drifted away, the children who forgot to call, the partner who left too soon, the people who never understood what you needed. Carrying all that hurt makes loneliness heavier. Letting it go, that's where freedom begins. That's when loneliness stops being a prison and starts becoming solitude. And solitude can be sacred. So if there's nobody left by your side right now, know this: you are not finished. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are simply in a new stage of life. One that, if embraced, can be more honest, more peaceful, and more fulfilling than any stage before. And funnily enough, once you make peace with being alone, that's usually when someone new walks into your life. Not because you needed them to complete you, but because you finally made space for joy to return. You've accepted the silence. You've reshaped your days. You've started seeing solitude not as a punishment, but as a quiet invitation from life to turn inward. Now comes the deeper work, the kind of transformation that doesn't just fill time, it fills your soul. One of the most powerful things you can do when you're alone is to reclaim your story. So many of us reach a certain age and feel like our story has already been written. The good parts are behind us, and now we're just turning pages toward the end. But that's not how stories work. Life doesn't hand you a script. You write it every single day, whether you're surrounded by people or sitting in your kitchen with a single spoon and a bowl of soup. So let me ask you something. What chapter do you want this to be? A chapter of sadness and endings, or one of rediscovery? One way to rediscover yourself is through creativity. And I don't mean painting like Monet or writing the next great novel, unless you want to, of course. I mean making something, anything, knit a scarf, even if it comes out crooked, write a short poem, bake a new recipe, and name it after yourself. Build a birdhouse, then watch who shows up. Creation is proof of life. It's your way of saying, I am still here, I still have something to give, and giving, well, that's another secret. Giving when you feel empty is counterintuitive, but it works. Try this. Leave a kind note for the mail carrier. Tip a little extra at the coffee shop. Compliment a stranger at the grocery store. You'll be amazed how much it lifts your mood. Generosity doesn't require wealth. It just requires noticing others. And every time you reach out, you build a little bridge back to humanity. Now, let's talk about the past. Old age brings a lot of time to reflect, but reflection can be a double-edged sword. Some memories are warm, others are painful. It's easy to get stuck in regret. You start thinking, I should have said this, I shouldn't have done that. Why didn't I take that trip? Why didn't I hold on tighter? But here's the truth. Regret is the mind's way of trying to rewrite something it no longer controls. You can't change what happened, but you can change what it means to you now. Try this instead. When a painful memory comes up, don't push it away. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Then ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How did I grow? Who did I become because of it? Sometimes the hardest chapters are the ones that shape us the most. They give our story texture. They make the peaceful moments even more precious. And while you're rewriting how you see your past, maybe it's time to rediscover something you let go of. Music, travel, that one hobby you dropped because you got too busy. One woman I know hadn't played the piano in over 30 years. Her husband used to sit beside her and hum while she played. After he passed, she never touched the keys. One day she opened the lid and just let her fingers wander. She cried the whole time, but she played. That's what healing sounds like. What did you used to love before life demanded so much from you, before caregiving and careers and chaos pulled you in a dozen directions? Dig into that. The things you loved then, they still belong to you now. And here's something else that might surprise you. Solitude doesn't have to mean isolation. You can be deeply connected without living in someone's pocket. Write letters, real ones, not emails, not texts, pen to paper. Write to old friends, even if they never write back. Write to your grandchildren or write to yourself. You'll be amazed how your own thoughts look when they're inked on paper instead of swirling in your head. And while you're at it, maybe try something the younger folks are doing. Video calls. I know. The buttons are small, the audio is glitchy, and half the time your face is cut off. But once you get the hang of it, that tiny screen can be a lifeline. You could call your niece across the country, or join an online class, or read a bedtime story to your great-grandchild who lives 2 states away. Technology isn't just for the young, it's for the curious. Let's get even braver for a moment. What if you planned a trip, not a world tour, just a weekend somewhere new? A town nearby with a lake, a museum you've never visited, a bed and breakfast where the sheets are clean and the coffee is strong. You can go alone. Yes, alone. You'll see the world differently that way, and people will surprise you. They'll smile at you. They'll ask where you're from. Some may even share their own stories. You'll come home with a little more light behind your eyes. Now, I know what some people might say. Isn't it sad to travel alone, eat alone, walk into a movie theater with only one ticket? No, what's sad is missing out on life because you're waiting for someone to go with. The happiest people I've met in their 70s and 80s are the ones who decided they were enough company for themselves. That kind of self-assurance, that's rare, that's powerful, and that's what this chapter is about. Still, there are nights. Always the nights, they stretch longer than they used to. The silence gets heavier in the dark, so fill your nights with comfort. Make a bedtime routine that soothes you. Herbal tea, soft lighting, a warm blanket, a journal by the bed, a little ritual that says, I made it through another day, and I am proud of myself for that.
Road trip.
Now,
Hey?
I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself 5 years from now, still here, still thriving. What does your life look like? What are you doing? Who are you helping? What joy are you allowing yourself that you never used to? Picture that version of yourself as vividly as you can. Because the moment you do, something shifts. You start walking toward it. Old age isn't the end of the road. It's a why. Open field waiting for you to walk across it in your own time, at your own pace, maybe even barefoot if you dare. And if right now you feel like no one sees you, hear this. I see you. Someone out there does. Your life still echoes. Even the quietest life creates ripples. Maybe you raised a child who became a nurse. Maybe you told a joke once that someone never forgot. Maybe your kindness years ago helped someone through their worst day. You don't always get to see your legacy, but it's there. So take a deep breath, look in the mirror, and remember this. There is no expiration date on meaning. There is no age limit on joy. You are still allowed to laugh until you snort. You are still allowed to start again. You are still allowed to fall in love with life, with art, with nature, with yourself. And if you've stayed with me this long, I want to say something simple but true. You're doing great. Maybe not every day, maybe not in every way, but just by showing up, just by wondering what else life might hold, that's courage. Now, if you haven't already, make today count. Write something, call someone, step outside, stir the soup. Pet the dog, light the candle. Remind yourself that even if there's nobody left by your side, you are not alone. And if you ever feel like you need a reminder, well, I'll be right here. If this story found a place in your heart, go ahead and subscribe. Not for me, for you. Because everyone needs a little reminder now and then that their story still matters. And hey, while you're at it, drop your city in the comments. You never know.